Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Business, and I am doing an overview on the Nurnberg, the Tier 6 German cruiser, and I gotta say, I really like this ship. And it is very similar to the Königsberg. You know, it looks visually quite similar. It has the same type of turret arrangement and whatnot. The skin is by Tans, same with this Königsberg that you see here. And I'll, as usual, provide the link in the description. As far as the Nurnberg is concerned, what is most interesting about this is the AP. And basically what you can look at it as is a German version of the Cleveland, but focused on AP. And generally speaking, you will use AP in most of the situations where with the Cleveland you would use HE. And now don't get me wrong, there are two very specific scenarios that I will be able to show you in this that I would definitely use HE over AP, and we'll get to those later. But for the most part, AP rules the roost here. Now, I was going to hold off on this video because of the changes that are coming up with advanced firing training. Since I don't know exactly when that's going to happen, I just said screw it, I'm going to go through with this. The upgraded range is about 16.5 kilometers, so bear that in mind. That's going to be your max range now, because AFT is not going to be active for you anymore. You're not going to hit out to 19.8 kilometers, which is fucking ridiculous for a tier 6 cruiser, period. So when looking at the stats here, I do have the 2-point turret traverse upgrade as well, so that is a blisteringly quick turret traverse for any cruiser. 17.8 seconds. I mean, anything under 25 seconds is fast. It does have a really poor fire chance at only 8%, and you know, the AP damage is solid. I think it's about, what, 3,900, and the torpedoes are all the same that you'll be seeing from, you know, tier 5 all the way up to tier 10. If you've used the Tirpitz, it's exactly the same. I mean, they're the same damn thing. So they're all 6 kilometers. They all do the same damage. They all have the same reload, and I think even the turret traverse, or the 180-degree traverse time, is the same. I could be wrong about that one, but not like that matters. I mean, out of all the stats to be different, I mean, that's kind of inconsequential. But as far as the mounting is concerned, the forward ones are excellently mounted, and this is where I really like the German cruisers compared, at least so far, compared to the Japanese cruisers. And you can pretty much fire them forward, and that's a huge advantage when you're in a situation where you're trying to get behind an island and remain offensively capable, or, you know, trying to do an area denial. The AA is crap. I'm not going to talk about that. Go with hydroacoustics. Don't bother with any upgrades to your AA. It's worthless. Taking a look at the maneuverability here, the speed is solid, and it actually, once you get the rudder shift upgrade, which I'll go over in just a second, it actually maneuvers a little better in terms of the rudder shift than the Königsberg, and that's actually been one of my biggest gripes with the Königsberg. It just needed a little bit faster rudder to make it feel better. Now for the upgrades, I do end up with the main battery mod 1 as usual. Any reduced risk of detonation is always good. I did go with the accuracy upgrade just because nothing else seemed to fit. And the damage control system mod 1, I don't know why I didn't actually go with the propulsion mod 1. I think I'm gonna change that out. And also, of course, the rudder shift mod. So that's pretty much a given on any ship. You just have to take it. And I think that's gonna need some rebalancing, or at least not necessarily making that rebalance, but having the other ones be enticing enough to take. So I'm first going to show you something that you don't do in this ship or any ship, and I'm playing the Murmansk in this match, and there's an enemy Nurnberg in completely open water, no chance of any type of cover, and he's sitting there almost stationary and just giving me a side. I just don't know what compelled this player to do this, but I end up with more citadels than, you know, non-citadel hits, and end up wrecking him at the start of the match. That is a ridiculous way to play, regardless of what ship you have, but especially something as thinly armored as the side of a cruiser. Now, I do find myself in a situation in a stock Nurnberg here. I do have an XP camo on and all that stuff, trying to maximize the XP benefit for this double XP weekend, I think. And I found myself against a lot of ships, and I'm like, well, shit, I gotta get the hell out of here. First things first, though, Farragut comes around, tries to play with me a little bit, and that's usually not a good thing against a ship with such a high rate of fire. Luckily, I do have some other ships over here too to help me out, and what I've been noticing that I'm doing with this ship is firing 1 or 2 salvos of HE, switching over to AP against destroyers. It's very consistent, and I would highly recommend trying that out. And watch this middle torpedo. I'm gonna get hit by one, but went right underneath the damn stern of the ship. And enemy Furutaka lining up. Bad idea. So the AP on this is monstrous. And if you're kind of questioning that, check out this the amount of damage on this salvo. 7,700. Yeah. And that's pretty good, even by battleship standards. Another 2,900. And I'm going to switch over to HE here in just a minute as well, but the AP performance on this is just fantastic. And there are situations like, obviously there you're seeing a lot of those shells end up bouncing and not actually penetrating. You know, once you get into that once you're perpendicular like this at you know, a given range against battleships, it's definitely a better idea for the most part to switch over to HE. You're not going to do all that much damage, and you'll see this again later, but I am not making the same mistake as the Nurnberg in the previous clip. I have some cover here, and I'm just squeaking out enough, and I'm anticipating the shots from the New York, which are coming any second right there. And I'm trying to get the ship moving as fast as I can. I know he wouldn't have a shot on me unless I, you know, was further back. So I wasn't trying to make the same mistake as the guy in the first clip. So now, when it comes to the AFT performance and the stock performance, I honestly think the ship is going to do just fine with the 16.5 kilometer range it has. When you look at a ship like the Murmansk, like, I honestly don't use the extra range as much as people may want to think or suggest that they do. You know, it just doesn't seem all that practical until you get into a very specific scenario where there's a carrier hiding out on 2 brothers behind an island, and you get that extra range, and then you throw on the scout plane on top of it too to be able to shoot even further and then get the better arc over it. I mean, you know, honestly, let me put it to you this way. The change for cruisers with advanced firing training has been a long time coming, because they cannot balance them without removing it. They can't, and I know it sucks, and it's going to suck for a little while, but the fact of the matter is, it breaks cruisers, and it's less broken with it being balanced. I promise you, it'll be better. You have no idea how much better the shell travel, the trajectory was for the Cleveland if you never played back in closed beta, and you'll see there an example of HE and then switching to AP, and here you'll see how ineffective HE can actually be. Just try to pay attention to the amount of times I bounce HE and do little to no damage at all with this. But you know, it's better that they do it now than, you know, a year from now when the game is presumably, hopefully, even bigger. You know, and I was really hoping they would have done it, you know, months and months ago, but they didn't get around to it. And the fact of the matter is that there's too much changed by the captain skills, and I really don't like some of the changes coming up, but again, I just have to test them out myself and see how it interacts with the gameplay as a whole, because it's so hard to, I mean, it's easy to just be like, oh, that's overpowered, oh, that's overpowered. Not like advanced firing training. So I did get Confederate because I had a very rare fire burning on the New Mexico for a little bit, and I switch over to AP, and he has about 27,000 health after this salvo hits. And just pay attention, I luckily found the right lead on the first shot, and I stuck with it, but you're going to see the consistency when you get at angles like this with AP is excellent, and it does not take long to be able to whittle down an enemy battleship. And I mean, try to consider how long this is actually taking, and yeah, I mean, I am pretty much prepared for my own death, but I'm sticking it out because I'm like, you know what, I think I can get this guy before he gets me, or at least, you know, get him so close to death that he's, you know, it's not even gonna matter. So he's just trudging along, same path and everything, and gets taken out just like that. So a lot of XP, and like I said, it was a double XP weekend, so I had a base XP of 2,000. I don't really have that much damage in this. I think at what, like 92, 93,000. I don't think I've even cracked 100,000 damage in this yet, and my average damage with it is actually 4,000 lower than the Königsberg, and which is coincidentally 4,000 higher than the let's see, the Furitaka. So I'm really surprised by that. It has a lot of potential, but when you're using AP as much as you do in this ship, you're going to get a shitload of bounces. But then again, it's all about peppering the enemy, because you do still have 16 kilometers of range to work with, and I don't think that's bad. But anyways, moving on to this match here, we have Swagger, who you may be familiar with from the stream. We've been divisioning with him quite a bit lately, and especially when we're rolling the triple Fuso setup, which is hilarious amount of fun. But he's on North here, and he's bottom tier. And honestly, when I first saw this initial interaction, there's an enemy Atago right ahead of him here, I didn't think much was going to happen. I you know, maybe, you know, a quick kill or something like that, and then he dies, because he really should have, considering that he's going full broadside here against a... Yeah, I don't know how that didn't do more damage against him, but he gets a torpid, and he lines up his turrets, gets a good salvo right into the side, does a lot of damage there. So 8 out of 9 shells hit, and 3 of those were citadels, and he finishes them off with another citadel. Now, throughout this match, Swagger pretty much dedicated this area as being his playground, and these ships just kept coming. There was a destroyer here, and he maintains AP, and dumps some shots into him, gets a decent amount of damage, and voila, no more destroyer. And luckily he had some teammates around too to help him out, but the torpedoes are out and away, and he's going to send even more out here in just a second. And you can see there's another enemy cruiser coming up. There is a battleship further back hanging out a little bit, and off to the port side there's another cloud of smoke there, so there is a destroyer back there that causes some havoc for some of his teammates. And you can see the guy just beached himself there too, with the anticipation of torps, or probably even trying to evade some of that North Carolina's gunfire there. But an enemy Nurnberg shows up, and Swagger's not having any of that. So you can see, again, he gets a citadel. Boom! Awesome. That front part of the ship just gone. And you know what I said about them launching a lot of torpedoes? You have no idea. I mean, I'm not even showing you. Like, I think this is like maybe half of the amount of torpedoes he actually launched. I don't know, something like that. So an enemy Cleveland comes around. Swagger did pull back to see if he could help out with hunting down that destroyer, but he turns back around, and Cleveland, at this type of range against a ship like the Nurnberg, I mean, it's a maneuverable ship and, you know, relatively quick. He's not going to have any hits come in unless Swagger screws up and, you know, runs right into him. So the North Carolina's coming around, and this is another one of those situations where I would definitely switch to HE, but, you know, your results may vary. I've actually citadeled ships with the Nurnberg. What did I think it was an enemy Nurnberg from about 14 kilometers away, in a similar situation, and I did not expect it at all. But the North Carolina takes care of this problem here in just a second, and you can see he's doing decent damage with the AP there. I mean, 2,500 damage, again, it's not a lot, but when you're talking about a ship that reloads this quickly and, you know, honestly is relatively consistent with its AP penetration, that's something that adds up very, very quickly, and you've already seen it in the other clips. Now, this is a definite scenario for HE. The amount of modules that are on that North Carolina and how wide the ship is make it such an easy target for starting fires or knocking things out, and you know, just wreaking havoc with the ship in general. So personally, that's what I would have done different here. And I mean, you can see everything is just bouncing. He's not having any success with AP here. So usually when you get a salvo that bounces entirely, or two salvos that bounce for the most part, and you do minimal damage, it's time to switch to HE. But he sees his opportunity here, and there's a destroyer behind him in the gap between the 9 and 8 line that's coming over, and he does have that North Carolina behind him, so he's going to have to worry about protecting his ally here in just a second, because he's got to deal with the damn North Carolina in front of him as well. So he launches his port side torps, swings the ship back around, and you can see the North Carolina trying to bring his turrets around. He's not really doing too much to try to evade anything here, and I mean, granted, he's screwed no matter what, but he gets bunch of torpedo hits and launches his starboard side. And not gonna lie, he's been very lucky at this point not to die from any given ship that shot him, but manages to take out the North Carolina with the torps, and now he's gotta turn his attention to the enemy destroyer behind him who's harassing his teammates here. So you're gonna see right when he zooms in, there's gonna be a salvo that comes in right here from his teammates. So he gets single hit right on the nose of the destroyer and takes him out with AP. So 466,000 credits. Fantastic results, really, just all around for being bottom tier. And I mean, check out this base experience. That's awesome. So way to go, man. Definitely a great job here. And take a look at all that damage and the amount of torps he fired off too. I think 66 torps and 8 hits. Some pretty good results. So when we get down to it, the 3 major drawbacks are the armor, the HE fire chance, and the AA. All 3 of those are really bad, but otherwise I really enjoy playing the ship. And feel free to let me know what you guys think of the Nurnberg in the comment section. I will be streaming today at 3 p.m. Eastern and also on Super Bowl Sunday for I don't know how long, but I should be on around 4 p.m. Eastern, so feel free to swing by and you know, have some fun with me there, you know, in between plays and all that. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you back here soon. Take care.